All right, so we're diving deep today into how to absolutely nail that human resources assistant interview. We've got a ton of great resources from RoleCatcher. It's a site that's really like a one-stop shop for all things career-related, from guides and tips to even some really cool AI tools that can help you stand out from the crowd.
Yeah, and I think what's really great about RoleCatcher is that it's not just generic advice. It's
Hmm,
really tailored to specific roles. And today, we're focusing on the ever so important human resources assistant position.
perfect. Okay, so before we get into all the interview prep, let's just take a step back for a second. What exactly does an HR assistant DO on a day-to-day basis? Paint me a picture.
Well, according to RoleCatcher's career guide, they're kind of like the unsung heroes of the HR department. They handle a really wide range of tasks, everything from sorting through those piles of CVs and shortlisting candidates to managing employee files and maybe even coordinating those fun team building activities that we all secretly love. It's all about organization, efficiency, and of course, that all important human touch.
Sounds like you really need to be a master multitasker in this role.
Absolutely. And that's definitely something you'll want to highlight during your interview. Speaking of interviews, let's dive into some of the most common questions you might encounter. We've pulled these straight from RoleCatcher's interview guide, and we're not just going to look at how to answer them. We're also going to anticipate those tricky follow-up questions that interviewers love to throw your way.
Oh, I love that. Okay, hit me with question number one.
All right, here it is. Can you explain your experience with HR software?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It is. This is your chance to really showcase your tech skills.
Uh-huh.
A lot of companies are moving towards those cloud-based systems these days, so familiarity with platforms like Workday or Bamboo HR can really give you a leg up. Even if your experience is with different software, though, don't worry. Just focus on the transferable skills, things like data entry, reporting, maybe even building custom workflows. Those are all valuable.
That's a great point. It's not just about rattling off software names. It's about showing you understand how technology is used to make HR processes more efficient. What kind of follow-up questions do you think they might ask about software?
They might dig a bit deeper into specific functionalities you've used, like applicant tracking systems or performance management modules. They might even ask about a time you had to troubleshoot a software issue. So be ready to share some concise, concrete examples that really highlight your problem-solving skills.
Love it. Okay, what's question number two?
All right, get ready for this one. Can you explain your approach to maintaining employee files?
Oh, that's all about organization and confidentiality, right?
Exactly. They're looking for someone who's meticulous, detail-oriented, and understands the importance of keeping sensitive information secure. Think about how you've ensured accuracy, security, and compliance with data protection regulations in your previous roles.
So let's say they ask, what steps would you take to ensure the confidentiality of employee data? How would you answer that one?
You could talk about utilizing secure digital filing systems,
Mhm.
following strict access protocols, and of course, being super mindful of those data privacy regulations like GDPR. You could even mention any training you've received or policies you've implemented to uphold those data security standards.
Perfect. Moving on to question number three. Can you describe your experience with recruiting and onboarding new employees?
Now, even if you haven't held a formal HR role before, don't panic. You can still highlight those transferable skills. Think back, have you ever been part of a hiring committee for a club or a volunteer organization? Did you train new team members at a part-time job? Any experience where you were involved in bringing new people into a team counts?
So it's about thinking outside the traditional HR box. I like that. What if they ask, tell me about a time you had to onboard a new employee? What kind of story would you tell?
I would focus on the specific actions you took to ensure a smooth transition for that new employee, like creating onboarding materials, scheduling training sessions, just being a friendly point of contact. The key is to show that you understand the onboarding process and that you can create that positive first impression that's so important.
Makes sense. Now, I know RoleCatcher also talks a lot about tailoring your answers to the specific company and role you're applying for.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And their AI tool can be a game changer for that. It can actually analyze job descriptions to help you pinpoint exactly which skills they're looking for.
So it's like having a personalized cheat sheet for your interview.
It really is. All right, are you ready for question number 4?
Give me.
Can you explain your experience with benefits administration?
Okay, so this is where any knowledge of health insurance, retirement plans, and all those other benefits comes into play.
Right. Right. If you've had any direct experience Administering benefits, that's fantastic. But even if you haven't, just showing a basic understanding shows you grasp this key aspect of HR. Be prepared for questions about specific types of benefits, or even scenarios like an employee inquiring about their leave balance.
Good to know.
Yeah.
All right, question number 5. Can you describe your experience with performance management? This one seems like it could be tough for someone who's just starting out in HR.
It might seem that way, but performance management isn't just for senior HR folks. Think about it, we all receive feedback, whether it's at school, work, or even in our personal lives.
True.
So how have you used feedback to improve? Have you ever had to give constructive feedback to a teammate? Those are all relevant experiences.
That's a great way to reframe it. What if they ask something like, what are some key principles of effective performance management?
Oh, that's a good one. You could talk about the importance of setting clear expectations from the start, providing regular feedback, both positive and constructive, and fostering a culture of open communication where feedback is seen as a valuable tool for growth.
All right, question number 6. Can you describe your experience with employee relations?
Ah, yes, the people skills question. Here they want to see if you can handle those sometimes tricky interpersonal situations that inevitably arise in the workplace.
Makes sense.
So, think back. Have you ever mediated a conflict between colleagues, addressed a concern from a team member? You don't need formal HR experience to demonstrate tact and diplomacy.
Absolutely. So if they ask, how would you handle a conflict between two employees?
Mm.
What are some key points to hit?
I would definitely talk about active listening first and foremost, remaining neutral, trying to understand both perspectives, and then facilitating a productive conversation to try to find a resolution that works for everyone involved. You could even mention any conflict resolution training you've had.
Okay. Moving on to question number 7. Can you describe your experience with training and development programs? This one seems like it might be more geared towards people who have a bit more experience in HR.
Not necessarily. Think about times you've identified a skill gap in yourself and taken the initiative to learn something new. Maybe you took an online course, attended a workshop, or even taught yourself a new software program. It's all about showing that you're committed to continuous learning and professional development, which is, let's face it, essential for any HR professional.
I agree. That's a great way to spin it. What if they ask about creative ways to deliver employee training?
Oh, that's fun. You could mention blended learning approaches, online modules, interactive workshops, mentorship programs, or even those gamified learning platforms that are becoming so popular. The key is to show them you're aware of the latest trends in training and development.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI tool can help you tailor your answers to all of these questions. It analyzes the job description, figures out what skills and experience they're looking for, and then helps you craft answers that hit those specific points.
It's like having a secret weapon in your interview arsenal.
Totally. Okay, question number 8. Can you explain your experience with payroll administration?
Payroll. This one can be a bit technical. If you've used payroll software or processed timesheets, definitely highlight that experience. But even if you haven't had direct experience, you can still focus on your understanding of the importance of accuracy, confidentiality, and timeliness when you're dealing with sensitive financial information. You might get follow-up questions about specific payroll procedures, or even hypothetical scenarios like dealing with a payroll discrepancy.
All right, question number 9. Can you explain your experience with HR analytics?
It is. Companies are really starting to recognize the power of data to make better decisions. So they want to see if you're comfortable working with data and using it to inform your HR practices.
So even if you don't have a ton of experience with formal HR analytics, you can still draw on examples from other areas of your life, right?
Exactly. Think about times you've collected, analyzed, or interpreted data, even in a non-HA context. Maybe you tracked progress on a project, analyzed customer feedback, or used spreadsheets to manage budgets. It's all about showing that you understand the value of data-driven decision-making.
What if they ask, what HR metrics do you find most valuable?
That's a great opportunity to show off your knowledge. You could mention metrics like employee turnover rate, time to hire, or employee engagement scores, and explain how analyzing those metrics can help identify areas for improvement and make better HR decisions.
Awesome. Okay, last question in this set, number 10. Can you describe your experience with HR strategy development?
Ooh, this one's all about thinking strategically. They want to see if you can connect the dots between the company's overall business objectives and the HR function.
So even if you haven't developed a full-blown HR strategy before, you can still demonstrate your understanding of how HR supports the bigger picture.
Exactly. For example, you could discuss how talent acquisition strategies can help a company achieve its growth plans, or how employee development programs can boost productivity and innovation.
What if they ask, how would you align HR strategy with the company's overall business goals?
I would start by talking about conducting a needs analysis. Figure out what the company's key challenges are, and then develop HR initiatives to address those challenges. For example, if a company is expanding into new markets, you could talk about how HR can support that expansion by recruiting people with global experience and developing cross-cultural training programs.
That's a perfect example. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground here. But don't worry, we're not done yet. In the next part of our deep dive, we're going to explore how RoleCatcher's AI tools can take your interview prep to a whole new level.
Yeah, we'll dive deeper into those AI features, and we'll also talk about career progression and how to really showcase your passion for HR during the interview. Stay tuned.
Can't wait.
Woo! That was a lot of questions.
I know, right? But that's just the tip of the iceberg. RoleCatcher goes way beyond just sample questions and answers.
It really does. It's more like, a whole HR toolkit.
Exactly. And speaking of tools, let's talk about RoleCatcher's AI-powered features. I'm really curious about these. How can they actually help us, really up our interview game?
Okay, well, imagine this. You have this virtual coach who can analyze your resume and your cover letter and actually score them against specific job requirements and even suggest really targeted improvements.
Oh, wow. Okay. That reminds me of when I was first starting out, and my resume was basically just like this random jumble of jobs and skills. I wish I'd had RoleCatcher's AI back then.
Yeah, it's like having an expert, giving your application materials a makeover, making sure they really shine and highlight all the right keywords.
So it's not just about having a pretty resume. It's about making sure the content is really laser focused on the specific job you're applying for.
Exactly. And it goes even further than resumes and cover letters. RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you tailor your answers to those interview questions we just went over.
Wait, hold on. So it's not just about memorizing generic answers. We can actually personalize our responses based on the company and the position.
Absolutely. The AI analyzes the job description, figures out exactly what skills and experience they're looking for, and then helps you craft answers that really hit the mark.
That's incredible. Okay, now I have to ask about this AI video practice tool. What kind of feedback does it give? Is it like having Simon Cowell critiquing my every move?
No, it's not quite that brutal, but it does give you really valuable feedback on your delivery, your body language, even your tone of voice. It can analyze things like your pacing, your eye contact, even your use of filler words like and ooh.
Wow, so it's not just about practicing your answers. It's like refining your whole interview presentation.
Yeah. Exactly. Think of it as your personal interview coach right in your pocket.
Love it. Okay, so we've talked about interview prep, but what about the bigger picture of building a successful HR career? Does RoleCatcher have any insights on that?
It does. Their career guide actually provides a lot of information about different career stages for HR assistants, from entry level all the way up to senior positions.
So you can kind of map out your potential career path and see what skills you need to develop to get to where you want to be.
Exactly. It's all about being proactive and planning for the future.
And speaking of career advancement, I know RoleCatcher also mentions certifications like the PHR and SHRM-CP.
Right. Those are really valuable. They show potential employers that you're serious about professional development, and they can give you a real competitive edge, especially as you move into more senior roles.
So it's kind of like a stamp of approval from the HR world.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher can even help you prepare for those certification exams. They have study guides and other resources.
Very cool. Okay, let's shift gears a bit now and talk about how to really showcase your passion for HR during an interview, because I think that can make a big difference.
Oh, absolutely. You want to go beyond just giving those standard textbook answers. You want to let your personality shine through.
Right, because interviewers are often looking for that spark, that genuine enthusiasm and interest.
Exactly. So how do you convey that? Well, maybe you share a personal story about why you're drawn to HR.
I like that. Make it personal.
Or talk about an article you read that really caught your attention. Maybe it was about a specific HR trend or challenge. You could even ask insightful questions about the company's HR initiatives, like their approach to employee engagement or something. Show them you've done your research and that you're already thinking like an HR professional.
Yeah, asking thoughtful questions not only shows your interest, but it also gives you valuable information about the company's culture.
Exactly. And don't forget the basics. A genuine smile, a confident handshake, those things can go a long way.
It's so true. Enthusiasm and a positive attitude are contagious. Let your personality shine through and show them why you would be an amazing addition to their team.
I think we've covered a lot of great ground today. From the nitty-gritty details of interview questions to the broader perspective of building a successful HR career.
And with RoleCatcher's resources and AI tools, anyone can feel prepared and confident going into that HR assistant interview.
Absolutely. It's all about preparation, strategy, and that genuine passion for making a positive impact in the workplace.
Now, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a thought. It's about going beyond just, surface level answers and really demonstrating a deeper understanding of what HR is all about. So it's not enough to just know the right answers. You really need to show them that you get it. You get the bigger picture of what HR is all about, how it connects to the company's mission, values, their overall goals.
Exactly. Because I think sometimes people forget HR isn't just about paperwork and policies. It's about people, creating a workplace where everyone can, really thrive. And when you can show that you understand that during an interview, well, that's what makes you stand out.
Okay, so how can someone actually do that? Any practical tips for showcasing that deeper understanding?
Research. Really dive deep into the company before you even walk into that interview room. Don't just skim the job description. Go to their website, check out their social media, see if there are any recent news articles about them. Really get a feel for their culture, their values, what they stand for. And then when you're answering those questions, try to connect your skills and experiences back to those things.
So show them you're already thinking about how you can contribute to their success.
Exactly. And ask insightful questions. Don't be afraid to, show them you've done your homework. You could ask about their approach to employee engagement or maybe their diversity and inclusion initiatives.
Right, because asking questions not only shows that you're interested, but it also gives you more information about what's important to them.
Absolutely. Oh, and another thing, be prepared to talk about current trends in HR. Have you read any interesting articles lately? Maybe a research paper that really resonated with you? Or attended a webinar on a hot topic like AI in HR or the future of work?
Show them you're staying up to date.
Exactly. It shows you're not just looking for a job, you're passionate about the field.
And don't forget the power of stories.
Oh, yes, stories. Everyone loves a good story.
Yeah, personal anecdotes can really bring your answers to life and make you more memorable.
So think about a time you helped a colleague resolve a conflict, or maybe you implemented a new process that improved morale. Those stories can really showcase your skills and your passion.
So it's about finding that balance between giving those, structured, well-prepared answers and letting your personality and enthusiasm shine through.
Exactly. And remember, an interview is a two-way street. You're evaluating them just as much as they're evaluating you.
Ooh, I like that.
So ask yourself, do their values align with mine? Can I see myself being happy and successful here?
It's about finding the right fit.
Yes, for both of you.
Well, I think with all the insights we've gotten from RoleCatcher today and all the strategies we've talked about, anyone listening should feel ready to rock that HR assistant interview.
I agree. It's all about preparation, strategy, and passion.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from those, sometimes tricky interview questions to the power of AI in personalizing your approach. And most importantly, we've talked about showcasing your passion for HR and connecting your skills to the company's goals.
So to everyone out there who's getting ready for their big interview, we believe in you. Go out there and knock them dead.
And remember, research, practice, use those AI tools. And most of all, let your enthusiasm shine.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.
Bye, everyone.